Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversation about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
Maybe I don't need a Red Bull.
Right? I was thinking, maybe I'll have a Monster this morning, and then I had to do the math. I was like, I had several Monsters this week. Maybe I don't need one on Saturday.
This is only my second Red Bull this week. So
okay.
I don't drink that much caffeine.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy a good Red Bull.
I don't know. This week, the Monster flavors were just kicking in for me.
You tried this one's so good. You tried their new one?
Yeah, dude. It's a ruby red grapefruit.
You said that one was real good, huh?
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it just tastes like normal grapefruit, but I think they just, I don't know, a yellow can didn't work out, so they went with a kind of a pinkish one. It just tastes like normal grapefruit. I don't know if there is a taste difference between red grapefruit and normal grapefruit.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was delicious. Just the right amount of like tartness. And then sweet enough, but it's a sugar-free Monster anyway.
Have you had the Dr. Monster?
I don't think so.
They sell it here.
Okay.
But it's real orange juice and real lemonade combined.
Whoa.
It has pulp in it.
Really?
Like not like oodles of like,
yeah,
but like it's got like
low pulp,
a little bit of pulp in it, and like they advise you to like rotate the can to like
shake it up. Yeah,
not shake it because then it's gonna like explode everywhere, but like just like rotate it a little bit and let all the. And that one is like one of the best drinks I've ever had.
Dr. Monster?
The Doctor. Yeah, I don't know if you can find it in the U.S.
Interesting.
I know they have it in Europe and in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they have it other places.
I have to keep an eye out for that, man. Sounds good.
The can is very cool, too. It's got like a sun and a moon on it, and it's very cool.
Whoa.
Bright orange and yellows and black. It's a really cool can.
I'm a fan.
I'll have to show it to you. Anyway.
Sponsored? Not sponsored?
Dude, I wish. Can you imagine if you got a Monster sponsorship?
Dude. Oh, man. You just have the Monster truck roll up in the background of our shot every episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We get fans, give them free Monsters.
Oh, for sure.
It's the best. Anytime at ASU campus, when I was going to school there, the Monster truck just like showed up on campus on occasion just to like pass out Monsters to students.
What?
Yeah, it was awesome. And so you'd hear like...
That would never happen in my school. We had chocolate milk trucks.
It's all kosher. No, yeah. So you'd hear people like talking in the news and like, dude, the Monster truck's over at this building or this side of campus, and everybody starts walking over like, yeah, free Monster, and then they'll toss them out to you. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was a blast.
If I have to choose like an original drink flavor, Red Bull is over Monster for me.
Okay.
But
just for the OG.
Monster has some amazing like secondary or
all the alternate flavors.
Yeah. Most of Red Bull's alternate flavors are good, and like I really like them.
But the original is.
Original, this one actually probably is taking its spot. The new winter edition.
I've seen you.
So good.
Yeah.
But
cranberry cinnamon or something, right?
Pear cinnamon. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway,
see, my wife's that way with Monster. She just only likes the original and nothing else.
Really?
Yeah. It's just that fruit, the guarana. She loves that flavor.
Yeah. Well, she should try guarana Antarctica.
Oh, I'm saying, well, hey, you should come down to Argentina with me someday. Visit Argentina.
Did Argentina have a lot of guarana drinks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just because it's from Brazil is where the fruit's from. So yeah, you get.
Did you have the green can, the Antarctica ones?
Yeah.
Dude, those ones that's so good.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good. They were kind of the. I was gonna say the slang in Spanish. They're rich. They were the fancy brand.
Oh yeah.
In Argentina, actually, yeah, they were expensive.
Interesting, because I don't think they are in Brazil.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe they are.
That's the only one I've seen here.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
It's definitely the most popular in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, guarana is like probably top tier drink.
Yeah, anytime you showed up at like a conference or a lunch or anything, and they're bringing out the Guarana Antarctica, you're like, ooh, all right,
yeah,
fancy. Que cheto, that's what we'd say.
Legal, cara.
Yeah,
Los hijos aquí.
love some Guarana. That's why after living in Argentina, I promptly got addicted to Monster, and it's the only way to get that taste.
That's why I did Red Bulls.
Really?
It was because Red Bull was in the first energy drink. The first time I ever had Red Bull was on my mission.
Really? In Mozambique?
In Swaziland.
Oh, in Swaziland, because they get more imports, right?
They get all of the South African imports.
Yeah.
South Africa has 90% of what America or Europe has.
Sure. No, that's cool.
And so they had the regular, but they only had the little cans. They didn't have any other size except the little ones, like the
8 ounce?
8
Just
ounce?
like a soda?
Yeah, but it's smaller as well.
Oh, because these are all... No, these are 12. Sorry, yeah, so an 8 ounce would be even...
Well, it's not like shorter. It's just thinner. Like, you know how like a red
Oh, I've seen the little mini Cokes, I think, are 8 ounces.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They might have been 12. I don't remember how many fluid ounces they were. I think they were 250 mils, though, which is 8 ounces.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Only small ones. Small Red Bulls.
But they had the 3 flavors. They had the regular, the blue one, and the red one. Whatever flavors those were, I don't remember.
So you're just popping them like...
The blue and the red.
5-hour energies, just...
And my first energy drink was on my mission as well. And it was this thing called Dragon. And Dragon had like way too much caffeine.
That's funny.
It was like, there should be prescriptions for this thing.
There's no FDA here.
No, and it was just pure nuclear waste chemicals.
Wow. See, they get away with it here. They just say, like, FDA approved, but not recommended for pregnant people or whatever. Like,
so, and that one was like, really had that energy drink taste. And so, and I like didn't love it, but I would like drink one every once in a while if I was like super exhausted.
Yeah.
And so I had a Red Bull, and I was like, "Oh, this thing doesn't taste anything like an energy drink." Because my first energy drink experience was like nuclear waste.
It's terrible.
And now I'm going to a Red Bull, which is like halfway consumable for most people. And I was like, "This is amazing."
By comparison.
And that's what got me onto Red Bulls.
Nice.
And then Frozies. I gotta find Frozies.
But yeah, you've mentioned them before.
Those are just the best thing on the planet.
Yeah,
they're also not fit for human consumption. Like you can taste your teeth.
That's probably not getting imported anytime soon.
No, I think people have tried, and the FDA is literally like 0 chance. I'll have to show you a picture or find a picture, but like the colors are just like the most unnatural colors on the like. You think Mountain Dew looks unnatural?
Yeah, just like
Mountain Dew looks like water compared to like the colors of these frozen. It's like highlighter green, highlighter yellow, highlighter orange.
That's right. You described that.
And not
neon
like,
soda.
And not like see-through. Like you can't see through it. Like you know, like with like.
So it's a soda. Why could I not see through the soda?
Like there's no light that penetrates.
And it's just dark sludge.
There's the coconut one. Coconut. Ananas. Pineapple.
Pineapple. Yep.
And it's literally, it looks like milk. And you're like, this does not look appetizing.
Like, what? Guys, soda is supposed to be like majority water. What is in it?
And then there's the maracuja, the passion fruit one. Anyway, that was not the topic we were going to start off.
No, tangent.
Take us off on our first real topic.
No, I'll give you another quick tangent, actually.
Okay,
I have started watching The Gentleman, and I can't wait to kick you out of my house so I can go back and watch some more. It's a pretty good show.
Right? What episode are you on?
3. I think I finished episode 3.
Okay.
He was going to rob a car.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying the show more than I thought I would. It's just like a crime drama. I think
it's
played it
it's super
pretty well.
Good though, right?
I didn't. What I wasn't prepared for is I didn't think I'd like the protagonist as much, but I totally like. I like the protagonist. I empathize with him. He's kind of like a kind of rigorous military guy.
Yeah.
But then just falls into this criminal underworld accidentally.
Well, and what's cool is like he wasn't expecting to be the heir because he has an older brother.
Yes.
And
then he just finds out, oh yeah, his dad was all up in the criminal underworld and he's trying to get out of it. But by getting out of it, he's like kind of digging himself a deeper hole. It's very, very interesting.
I can't wait for you to watch the last episode.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm like, I don't know how they're going to end this.
The last episode is like perfection.
Cool.
It's
Cool.
really a great finale to the season.
Nice.
So it wasn't like, you know, Blue Eye Samurai where the last episode you're like,
kind of fell off in
but
quality.
like they're like, you know, hopefully leading it into a second season, so you're like okay with it.
It'll pick it back up, yeah. This one just peaks.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, well, this is going to either be like a rocket ship for the next season if they do a next season, which I hope they do, or it's going to be anyway. Yeah,
The Gentleman.
I'm glad you like it
on Netflix. Very enjoyable. Yeah.
What do you think of his brother?
Oh, his brother is a kook, man.
But like the actor plays him so well.
Yeah, dude.
And I hate you, but I love you. Like
he seemed normal in the first 5-10 minutes. I was just like, oh, whatever. He's just like a normal guy, and then he just like the first episode, he just like you see his whole descent into madness. Even though he was already crazy before then, but as the viewer, you're just like, I'm okay. I know everything I need to know about this character now.
Yeah. Yep.
And the actors, well done. They're all pretty good.
Yeah, there's not an actor that I'm like, that was a bad choice.
They pulled in, you mentioned from the movie adaptation, they couldn't get Matthew McConaughey, but they do have random big name actor. They have Giancarlo Esposito, the black guy who always dresses good. He's from like the Breaking Bad series.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I forgot that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting to see him.
Have you figured out his backstory yet?
Not totally, not yet.
Okay, I won't spoil it for
you. He seems more important than the first interaction led on.
So just when you're watching it, think like Breaking Bad. What is his role in Breaking Bad?
Yes. I'm like, is this just the same character, but now he's in England? Like, he's running his own like criminal organization.
Yeah, I forgot that they had him.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. I know that guy.
He's a great actor.
I like him in basically everything.
Yeah.
He did a collaboration with Payday 2 once upon a time. He was a villain, a leader of a criminal organization.
That's hilarious.
For some of the Payday 2 story, and so he did some missions and some voice lines where you did jobs for him.
That's cool.
It was really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Payday 2 had a lot of cool collabs like that, but
Payday 3 not so much.
No, Payday 3 was not fun.
I've seen a bunch of articles recently saying like trying to like get people to like play it. They're like, Payday 3 had missions, but it's really fun. Like Payday 3, what you should know before playing.
Oh, jeez.
Payday 3, like
they're just paying the AI generated articles. They're trying
to get people to play it and buy it, and it's like you screwed up. You screwed the pooch on that one, friends.
No, dude, Payday 2. They had a collaboration with like this Swedish music producer I never heard of named Alesso. But in the mission, you went and you like raided an Alesso concert, and you had to like blow holes in the vault timed to the dubstep to the music.
Hilarious.
So like you went to a concert in game and you robbed the bank that they were having the concert above. Like
that's cool.
And then I like listened to the guy and I was like, this guy's got some cool music. And it's like Payday 2 had some awesome collabs, some really cool ideas. And then Payday 3 was just like, nah, we're just not gonna have fun or do anything like that.
We're gonna make Call of Duty Part 17, but worse.
Yeah, Call of Duty, but worse. Payday 2 had a train heist, man.
That one was fun, too. Because that one, like, you had to be as sneaky as possible, and then, like, you weren't sneaky.
Then it was
chaos.
Guns blazing, and, oh, man. That game knew, like, when to take itself seriously and then when to have fun.
Yeah.
And it did it very well.
And there's, like, times where you're like, there's no way that there's this many cops in a 5-mile, like, in a 2-minute radius of us.
Yeah.
There's like 300 of them. You're like, what the heck?
How? Yeah, my favorite option was like turning off the body declutter. None of the bodies despawn. You can like see the whole mission. I'm just like, this is impossible. Like, you're robbing a bank in DC. You're like, this is all of the cops on the East Coast. Like, it's gotta be.
There's 1,000 of them.
There's so many.
It'd be very difficult to have the entire all the cops on the East Coast, though, because New York City exists.
Oh,
you know that New York City, if the amount of cops that New York City has were a military, it would be like the 12th largest military in the world.
Wow.
In terms of body count.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they've got so many different districts.
I think, let me.
You can't just have like, you know, here or I guess normally each city has their police department. But in New York, they're like split up into like, this is our precinct, our department.
Yeah.
And I'm sure each department is like a square mile or two. I mean, they can't be that large.
So in terms of budget, they're the 20th largest army and military in the world.
Okay. I can see
I'm trying
that.
to find personnel.
In terms of budget.
Because you have to think like a military uses missiles.
Oh, yeah.
NYPD doesn't have missiles.
No.
Or Abrams tanks or...
So they're spending, the 20th on spending just in like...
personnel.
Yeah.
Personnel and maybe like cars.
Personnel, cars, SWAT equipment, I guess.
Yeah, SWAT equipment you can buy for... I mean, I know civilians who have more equipment than SWAT does.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, it's probably mostly personnel then. Would be their biggest cost, I bet.
I'm trying to find it. All the ones I'm finding are just on
spending
budget, so
yeah.
I can't find it.
It still is pretty...
Yeah, so
pretty
one
telling.
city... That's just the New York City Police Department, not like the state of New York.
One city is a country.
Yeah. Well, it's like California.
Yeah.
California has like the 13th largest economy in the world.
Jeez.
Like that's one state.
Yeah.
And I think Texas is not far behind it.
That makes sense. Yeah, they got all the Gulf of Mexico shipping.
Well, shipping and they're, all
if you're counting interstate.
Oil, like
yeah.
The East Texas or the West Texas oil fields.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Like everyone's like, oh, the U.S. wouldn't be powerful. Like if blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, like the U.S. might not be powerful. But like, can you imagine if like who's the 13th biggest economy besides the U.S. state in the world? Like one of the European countries probably?
Probably.
Like, can you imagine like if someone was like, oh, yeah, freaking...
Finland
isn't that powerful. Finland isn't that powerful of a country. It's like, it's Finland. Like, what is your point?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a small... Yeah. I just think it's very funny when people are like, if the U.S. wouldn't be that powerful if the states weren't all combined. If the states were all separate countries, it's like, yeah, we would just be the 50 most powerful countries in the world.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, like California would be its own, Texas would be its own, but then we'd probably just be like, here's the Southwest conglomerate, the Midwest alliance. Like we would probably still split up into bigger city states anyway.
Yeah, like bigger countries.
Sure, I guess.
Even those countries, like we would go from being, I think we're the 4th largest landmass country.
Yeah.
So it goes Russia, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Is China bigger than us, or are we bigger than China?
Oh, that is a good question, actually. I'm positive on the first two.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're 3rd or 4th.
3rd or 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay. And then if you once you go from like there, you have like Brazil, the DRC, Argentina are like big landmass countries. Mm-hmm. But then like after that is like, I guess like Mongolia is big, but like
I don't know. Then you get into all the
little tiny like European countries are tiny compared to like, I mean like the biggest European country is, well, besides Russia obviously.
Yeah.
And I don't think Turkey will count either.
Sure.
But like let's say like European bloc countries, I'm thinking like Germany.
Germany,
the biggest. Germany, France. Is Macedonia big?
I mean, because of the what is that called? The globe effect, whatever that is. Like maybe Finland, Norway. Those guys are technically big, but
maybe
half the country's ice, so
doesn't count.
It doesn't count. The map kind of makes it look small, but
like Arizona would be like a large European country.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
If not the biggest.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe comparable to some of those like Germany, France.
Yeah, Germany, France. Spain's pretty large.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think,
like
just Arizona.
Just Arizona is, and like we've got 7 million people in this state.
7 or 8? That sounds right.
Yeah. And like.
And how many guns?
All of the guns.
We have our own military.
Yeah, like I think it's ridiculous where people are like,
the states
US needs to, because I've heard that sentiment.
You've heard that
from people where it's like the US
decentralized
wouldn't be powerful if they weren't such a big conglomerate. It's like, well, first of all, we are, so like go suck one.
That's kind
of like how our country was set up. So.
I'm sorry, Great Britain, you guys didn't you didn't like imperialize adjacent landmasses. Like you ended up giving all yours away because they were too hard to keep control of. America was like, no, we're gonna be all together.
And then Yeah, and then it's like, yeah, if they weren't so big, you wouldn't be powerful. It's like, well, but yes, we would, because like, yeah. Anyway.
It was weird.
Anyway,
America.
Yeah. Like the United States provides protection for the entire world.
Yeah, still.
Like European countries don't have militaries. Japan doesn't have a big military because the U.S. is like, I got you, little bro.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the police force of the world.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to our main topic for the day.
After 20 minutes.
20 minutes of
bullcrap.
What's it called? Yeah, non sequiturs.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to discuss, because we like to critically analyze literary works of art and film and
cinematography. There we go.
Yes.
Got it out.
Cinematographic.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. I wanted to pick your brain on the concept I had introduced to me this week or last week. Flanderization. This is like a real new term that's been, I don't know, I'm starting to be actually talked about by like students or whatever. Flanderization is a real term in media, referring to Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, which is kind of funny. That's like Simpsons is pop culture, but now it's like defining.
I think they've done a lot of that though.
Yeah, it's like official terms, but it's a literary. I don't want to say device, but it's a writing pattern, a writing method.
Is it a method or is it an?
I think most of the time it's negative. Most of the time it's an accident. Yeah. Probably when you take one like piece. So you have this well-defined character, let's say at the start of your media, your book, your show, whatever. But then by the end, as the writing goes on, you take just like one quality, one aspect of that character, and you just like
memify it.
Yeah, basically, you memify it. You like bring that one more to focus, and so by the end of your show or your book or whatever, that's like the only quality that remains from the character.
Yeah, you exaggerate it so much that they are that and nothing else.
Yeah, and so it ends up being like, oh, this character, is funny. He's a joke, and so by the end, he's the butt of every joke, and that's all he does. It's like, no, but he had other qualities. Flanderization.
Yeah.
Ned Flanders being the example from The Simpsons, because he started out as just like a nice community member. He was a good neighbor, as a contrast to Homer, I don't know, being a bad neighbor. But then, as one of his qualities was that, he was like a Christian. So by the end of the show, Ned Flanders is just like some crazy, super religious zealot, and not really so much just like good neighborly qualities. They just really focused on his like
into Christian madness.
Yeah, born again Christianity, preaching all the time. It's like, it was just part of him.
So you introduced this to me on yesterday.
I think so, just yesterday.
And you were like, well, just think about this. This is what it is. And I was like, okay. And I've been trying to think of like a character that is a good example of this besides Ned Flanders, right? And it was really difficult.
It is, yeah.
And there's like a couple where I thought like maybe could be it. But it's really hard to like, because you have to have so many seasons
enough
or a big enough universe for this to happen, right? And so it's hard to like, I don't know, like
it is definitely tough, and then also again, because it's mostly a negative thing. I don't think you want to be flanderizing your characters. It's more for the fans and critics watching, like, hey, you flanderized.
I did think of I did think of an example of a character who was unflanderized.
Oh, okay.
And that's Jar Jar Binks.
Gotcha.
So, hear me out. I know Jar Jar is not like the most beloved character of Star Wars.
Right.
Put your personal opinions aside.
We're analyzing this critically.
Yes. So in the first in the Phantom Menace, he's this bumbling bozo and can't do jack diddly crap.
Yeah, right? He's screwing
like,
everything up.
Even in war, he's like falling over, and it just happens to be good. there are theories that was a farce because he's a Sith Lord.
I approve of those theories, but you said we're putting that aside. All right.
Yes. So based on what is portrayed in the movies, right?
Darth Binks.
Yeah. Darth Jar Jar. So he goes from being that, and then in the third movie, he's a senator.
Yeah, he's their politician, political leader,
politicizing and giving these fabulous speeches, and you're like, you went from being a throwaway character who was just there to provide some comedic relief and bozo-ness into the show to being like a relatively important key piece, because he's the one that tries to give supreme power to the Chancellor, who's also a Nabooian.
Yeah, that's true. He was friendly enough that he had like the interspecies relations that he ended up being a good diplomat, like a good senator.
And so it's like, that was kind of like, I was like, that's like an unflanderization, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing, but like, and then I was really trying to come up with like a good example of someone who did go through that Flanderization process.
There were some decent examples I saw online, without digging like so deep into it, but they said like Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants. By the end, I almost had a hard time with this one, but he at least was kind of like not smart, but he was at least like friendly-ish at the beginning. But then by the end, I guess he was just, or even the new stuff they're putting out, he's just dumb beyond all belief. Because they were just like, oh, he's dumb. But what they forgot at the beginning is that like he was dumb, but he was still like nice. He was a good friend to SpongeBob or whatever. Like, but by the end, he's just ruining everything with how dumb he is.
Interesting.
And you're like, okay. Just because of the meme, just memify it. This is funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's you forget about characteristics. And then we were thinking about it because my wife and I just finished watching the show called The Good Place. You know it, or you've seen it? Yeah, that one I feel like
with
Kristen Bell.
Yeah, and they're in heaven.
They're in like an alternate afterlife.
I know. It was a good show.
So that one I
didn't finish. I don't think I've seen the most recent stuff.
There were 4 seasons.
Maybe I haven't. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
I won't spoil anything there, but that one bothered me sometimes until I had to like realize that they're in this false, or alternate afterlife, and over the course of the 4 seasons, I mean, their like minds end up getting wiped several times, but it takes place over like 300 something years, they tell us in like a throwaway line, with the last episode being like 1,000 something years or whatever, because that's just like a conclusion of falling action for the afterlife, which is timeless. But they got away with it a couple times just because of like the fact that they said they were like wiping their minds or whatever. But I'm not a fan of when shows do time skips in general, but then then you can't see any character development. You do a time skip, and then if a character just does something totally wild that's totally contrary to them, as the viewer, you're just supposed to like accept it. And I don't like that. I'm like, oh, there were 6 months here. A lot can happen in 6 months. But that show took place over 300 years. I was like, sometimes the characters just develop more off screen. But then by the end, it felt like maybe a couple of the characters had been flanderized, but I think they kind of wrote themselves a loophole of like, it was 300 years, so maybe they just developed differently and you didn't know, instead of like, okay, at the beginning this guy had one trait, and then by the end it's like coming up constantly. It's like, It's like, he was smarter. You think he would still be smart in 300 years, but he's kind of just...
Bit cheaty?
Yeah, cheaty, but he still is kind of just like dumb. I don't know. It gets you thinking, though, of like analyzing characters in media.
Yeah. That's I don't know. Like I said, I had a hard time thinking of like a specific character. I did think of a show that had that, though.
Oh, yeah?
Where the main character stayed the same, were like mostly the same, but then the storyline behind him became Flanderized.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that counts, but it was the Book of Boba.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because Boba Fett is this well-rounded character.
He's a character you already know.
Attempting to do X, Y, and Z, and is like, pretty much does that the entire time. And you start the show. The start of the show is fantastic. It's getting background, and he becomes this crime lord in place of Jabba the Hutt, and kind of is like trying to like produce these political alliances. And then by the end, you've just got the Power Rangers.
Yeah,
it's the worst fight scene of cinema of all time. Ever. It's the worst fight scene in cinema, hard stop.
And it's just goofy. It's just...
Yeah. Like, I think the Power Ranger fight scenes are more realistic than the Book of Boba fight scene at the end.
The literal Power Rangers.
Like, the literal Power Ranger was like, go, go, Power Rangers!
Yeah, and they just thought like
that was like better than the Book of Boba.
Star Wars is fun. Let's be fun now. You're like, no, wait, but we were doing like a serious crime thing.
Yeah, and they could have done. It could have been so good if they just kept up the first 3 episodes throughout the rest of the series. It would have been one of the best shows ever produced. But they decided to just like take this one idea of, I don't even know what the idea is that they took. But it just took this corny and campy and like non-Star Warsy vibe.
Yeah, that is weird,
right? And like then all of a sudden you had this huge cast of like C-tier actors who are, trying to act like they're these bad A gangsters on Tatooine. But in reality, they just look like the Power Rangers from Wish.
Yeah.
Like Temu Power Rangers.
Uh-huh.
Like, and you're just like, what are we doing here? Like, why did... And so that's kind of like what my original thought was like, oh, well, Boba Fett was Flanderized. Not really.
He wasn't.
Like, he wasn't. He kind of stayed the same. The last episode, he was like a little bit frustrating because he didn't do jack.
Well, yeah, because
the whole other cast had to do stuff. Like, they had to have an excuse.
They wrote him into this dumb story, and so it's like, yeah, his character didn't change, but you'd be like, why would his character be putting up with this dumb story that's changing around him?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say that's a pretty good example. I had a good one that I think is semi-unique, but it's from the Persona video games. So it was a crossover between the characters of Persona 3 and Persona 4. It was a separate game called Persona Q. It's just a spin-off. And it's like, I could see this happening with Flanderization, I guess, if you ever did a crossover, because you have this like all-star cast of characters in one game, and then in a second game, and then now you're trying to condense all of their characteristics into one game. Like, that's too much. There's not enough screen time, basically. And so there's the one character in particular, this girl from 4. She's into kung fu, but she's kind of like what's the word? Like a down to earth kind of tomboy, small town, and occasionally talks about like, oh, for my training regimen, I lots of protein, whatever. And then in the spin-off game, she was just all protein all the time. That was any joke. Anytime she was on screen, she was like, gotta get some more steak or whatever. It was just like that. I don't know. That for me was, again, a unique kind of weird, crossover spin-off example, but it was total Flanderization in my head of just like,
yeah,
it's like, that's not the only thing about that character. It's like, nope, protein. Like, yeah, you didn't have enough time to fully develop and explore all of the characters. So
that's a good one. I'm trying to think of another. It's a really hard thing to think about because most of the time there has to be like pre-existing content of a character how they originally were for you to like, because like if a character is just written into a story as like a one-trick pony, it's like, well, that's what they are.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
No one cares.
Oh, this is the comic relief character. They're always just the comic relief.
So like in Blue Eye Samurai, for example, you have the big guy with no hands.
Oh, with no hands.
What's his name?
I don't remember his name.
Yeah. And he's like pretty much the same the entire show.
Yeah,
like he has a little bit of character growth because he does whatever, but he's still kind of the same.
Yeah, basically, it's kind of the loyal, naive, innocent friend.
And so it's I don't know.
It gets your brain thinking though. Next time you're watching a show, you'll call out and be like, "Hey, they ruined this character." Especially if it's several seasons, a lot of a big universe that's already developed. If it's just a one-off, like a movie, that's maybe kind of hard to tell. So
it's difficult. It's difficult.
Well, cool. I'm glad we could discuss that. I thought that was it was neat because again, I'll be thinking of it.
I'm gonna throw one at you real quick.
Oh yeah, go for it
before you close it out on the topic. Galadriel. So let me throw this at you. Chronologically, not Flanderized.
Sure.
But in the real world, she was. Because you had her in the books and the movies, where she was this regal, queenly elf.
Mm-hmm. Kind of advisor.
Warrior, politician thing, right?
Sagely. She's wise.
And then in Rings of Power, she's just a hard-headed, angry, I smack things with sword.
Just solve problems with fist. Just bash through problems.
What do you?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Is that an excusable one though? Because it is when she's younger.
Because it was a
flashback,
a prequel.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because it wasn't strict chronological.
It's an interesting thought.
It is interesting. Yeah, because in my head you could almost just it's almost not Flanderization because they could literally just be two different characters.
Well, that's very true.
I don't see a connection, but because the name's the same, there is a connection. Just she was brash and hard-headed in her chronology, and then ended up just turning into
a good person.
Yeah, that does kind of seem like a total 180, even in her chronology. Interesting. Like I said, it gets you thinking. That is neat.
Yeah. Anyway, you were moving us on.
Yes. The show must go on.
Almost continuar.
And then this next one. Feel my beard keep bumping into that. I need it close to my mouth though. This next topic, I don't think would be huge. I briefly mentioned it, I think, at our last game night. Brand new D&D is coming out.
Oh yeah.
But not D&D 1. This is just a new role-playing game called Daggerheart, which I have my personal opinions on.
The name?
No, just on this sphere of D&D, this realm of D&D on the internet. But it's from the Critical Role people.
Yeah.
The Matt Mercer and his crowd. Which, all right, they made D&D popular. That's cool, I guess, to certain people, but I've always just seen that as a little cringe.
Playing D&D online?
I don't know. Everyone plays D&D differently, I guess, but their D&D is just they're all actors. They're all voice actors. So I don't know. They just their game is just improv all the time.
Oh,
all right, that's fine to me. Because D&D is designed to be played however the DM wants to run it. Yeah, basically. But I don't know if they had some issues with Wizards of the Coast and maybe some... I'm sure they had some contracts licensing anyway because they were making money off of Critical Role while playing Dungeons & Dragons, which is from Wizards of the Coast. And Wizards of the Coast already had some issues, I think, last year with they call it the OGL, the Open Game License, of people making money off of Dungeons & Dragons content. So I'm sure there was some headbutting behind the scenes because now Critical Role is making their own role-playing game called Daggerheart. And not the controversy, but I guess the discussion around that is how it's basically D&D light.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so it begs the question of why even bother making a whole new system when you can just have your DM just play D&D light.
So explain what makes it light compared to
there is less
character creation is less
complexity.
Sure.
There's less complexity, and there's generally less structure in combat, especially is where a lot of the big problems come up with this new system from Daggerheart. There's no initiative. You just act. You just act however you want, and it's a lot more work. It's a lot more complexity for the DM. The DM has a lot more to keep track of, but the players are just, again, like the game was designed for just actors, just improv actors. You can just do whatever you want. So, and the character design, the combat has no initiative. There's no turn order. It's not really like you're playing a game, like you're just acting. And the game mechanic is, the DM just keeps track of like positive and negative karma.
Karma?
Basically, so like in combat, because there's no initiative, you can just be like, well, I'm gonna attack the monster, and the DM will be like, okay, well, yeah, and then the monster will try to attack you, and he's like, no, I'm just gonna attack the monster again. And so the DM will like track that as like, oh, that's like negative karma because you're doing extra stuff, so I'll give you your negative karma later. And then the player's like, well, I want to attack the monster again. I just kill him. So it's just weird. It's not a game, really.
Yeah.
It's just like playing make-believe when you were kids. And then I stab the dragon, kill him in one hit, chop off his head. DM has to go, yeah, okay, you do that. Because you described it in a cool way, but I'll give you a negative karma. And then maybe later, you fell into a trap, and then you remove the negative karma.
Because it was resolved or whatever.
Yeah. So it's like that's why karma, it's like eye for an eye.
Yeah.
It's weird. It doesn't feel like a game to me.
Yeah. Your description of this is what you played when you were 6 with cars.
Yeah. Like action figures.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
The dragon. Yeah. No, it's make believe.
How did that go? One more time for those listening. Yeah, no, that's
designing a whole new RPG.
I wonder how successful it is. I assume they're doing content, or not just their online content. I assume that's what they're going to be playing.
Yeah, they've already sent out, I think, like public or semi-public beta testing for some of the rules, and their next like season of Critical Role is going to be this season 4 or whatever.
I wonder if that increases or decreases their viewership.
Yeah.
Or if it doesn't do anything.
Or if it doesn't do anything. I mean, I again, that's not really for me, but I know a lot of people got into D&D for that because it was probably the biggest thing in media lately. But they really spiked with the COVID pandemic, their viewership, their popularity.
Well, and they had that Amazon show.
Vox Machina.
Vox Machina, which I watched both seasons.
Oh yeah, I only saw the one, but yeah.
And I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was good. I thought the first season was better than the second season.
Oh, okay.
But I thought the second season was fine.
It was still fine.
I didn't have a problem with it, right?
Gotcha.
But I didn't I think it was just a personal like enjoyment. I like the storyline of the first one more than the second one, which some people could disagree with that, and I think that would be very reasonable, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Just I don't have a reason for disliking this.
Yeah, it wasn't like a drop off in quality.
No, this quality was the same. Acting was or voice acting was the same. I just enjoyed the story of the first one.
Gotcha.
Like that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like
in terms of how well this new system.
So I don't know. I wonder how they'll do it. Because I think Vox Machina was surely it had to be licensed by Wizards.
Yeah, that's the thing. I believe there's some contracting, there's some deals with like maybe not Vox Machina because just as a storyline that is Matt Mercer as a dungeon master, he made his own universe and his own story.
Sure, but, yeah, and they don't say like I'm rolling for initiative. Like they don't.
Yeah,
it's not overtly D&D.
But playing the game, they're using the rules of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, copyright, trademark, or whatever. So I'm sure this gives them a little bit more like kind of open license to do what they want with their own new system for their show, their podcast.
Yeah. They have a podcast as well as your own.
Critical Role is the podcast of them just playing D&D.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a pod. I thought it was just I thought they live streamed it and had like the VOD recording of it.
Yeah, no, yeah, they live stream like them playing. You can find everything online.
Probably on Twitch.
I think so. Yeah. I'm conflicted because I'm generally pro new role playing games coming up.
Sure.
I'm a fan of like Pathfinder. I think is probably, I don't know the numbers, probably the second most successful role playing game under Dungeons and Dragons. I'd love somebody to kind of knock D&D off their pedestal a little bit. So I'm pro that, but
You're not a fan of Wizards of the Coast?
Generally not. But then I'm pro, hey, good for you, Daggerheart, Critical Role people. But then I'm kind of anti because I'm like, is that even a game?
Yeah, it does seem like they need to flush some more. It feels like maybe D&D first edition.
Yeah, in terms of like
quality
of
and
just like
flushing out the rules, and
there's nothing to it.
Hey, maybe it turns out that it's really, really good.
Sure. I've been a dungeon master several times. I think if like you tailor your role-playing experience to your party anyway, like if I'm playing with kids, like literal children, like I simplify the game.
Yeah,
naturally. I don't know if you need to design a whole new game, but anyway, I'm probably beating a dead horse. Daggerheart.
Yeah,
we'll see
how that does. I'm curious to see if they're commercially successful.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll make money on release,
right?
Because it's paper
and it's popular enough. People know the.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure that there's going to be someone who, or I'm sure that let's say 25% of their audience, which is a large audience, will go out and purchase a copy of a book,
their content,
book or whatever.
Yeah.
If not to play it, at least to support them.
Sure.
So I'm sure it'll be short-term commercially viable and successful, but
let's see how well it goes.
The longevity of D&D. D&D's been around for like what, 180 years?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah. I think that's.
But like since the 70s.
Yeah, that sounds right.
80s maybe.
It got big in the 80s for sure, but it might have been in the 70s. I want to say.
So I mean, that's longer than like a lot of other things, like Magic was the 80s, 90s.
Magic was the 90s. They just had their 30th anniversary, so
the early 90s.
Yeah, 1993, I think.
Like,
and that's impressive.
Warhammer is also
80s, pretty sure, maybe 70s, but yeah, pretty sure 80s.
Why are all the good nerd things like old?
Yeah, all the long-lasting ones.
I mean, I guess that's definitional, though.
Yeah.
Like the long-lasting things are going to be older.
But they're still successful today, I guess, is the...
Yeah, we'll see, though, about Wizards of the Coast.
Sure.
Their stuff. I mean, I don't think games work.
Just because you've seen many, like, role-playing games kind of come and fall, or many card games in comparison to Magic, but, like, the OGs are still there.
I've been getting a lot of ads for that Star Wars card game.
The new Star Wars one,
I think I might buy a deck or two.
Star Wars, what was it called? Unlimited? I thought it was something. We talked about it just a couple weeks ago.
I don't remember.
But yeah, I think their intro decks are somewhat affordable, actually, like $10 or $15. Might
be cool to grab one.
I think I'd have a blast with it. Unlimited, yes. Yeah. Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah, I would be super down to.
And the packs, I mean, not that I'm a gambler, but the packs seem decent-ish value, at least for a new player, because you always need like a hero card and a base card. It's like a planeswalker and a battle or whatever. I don't know, because that's for your deck construction, and every pack has a hero and a base card.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Guaranteed. Plus, the 6 or 7 other stuff.
Honestly, like, I'm such a big fan of Star Wars anyway that, like, the art's, I kind of just want the cards.
The art's pretty good. I think it's all Empire time period, I think. So Stormtroopers. I know you like clones more. That's why
I'm a fan of the clones.
I have to double check that, but I think
I like the politics in the first 3 episodes,
which is funny because people thought that wasn't going to do well. They told George Lucas, like, You have too many politics. In
Oh, are you joking? You have the whole separatist movement because they're trying to get out of this corrupt system? Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then you figure out that this separatist movement is actually being done by the leader of the corruption.
Yes,
and
right.
It's like, oh my gosh.
It was all orchestrated.
So applicable.
Spoilers, by the way.
Speaking of that, this reminded me of something crazy that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I'm a little bit fuzzy on all of the details here, but
sure.
Haiti is like in like the midst of like a revolution, civil war type thing.
Yeah, it had some gang just like
assume power.
Yeah, just take over.
And there's been a bunch of fighting in the streets, like a bunch of like
just rioting and
not like gang level violence, but like
chaos,
like war, like urban combat,
anarchy.
There's been a bunch of pictures of guys fully dressed up in, local clothing with full head coverings who are using really, 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 they're using really expensive guns really correctly. And one thing I would tell you is that gangsters and people who learn how to shoot on the street don't know how to shoot worth crap.
No, not at all.
As someone who's been around guns and taken many classes and shot with, I went and shot with the Marine Raiders, like did all that stuff with them. I've shot with CIA guys. Like, as someone who purports to know how to shoot halfway decently.
Steven, you got to turn your pistol sideways because it looks cool.
And shooting an AK like this.
And the shell casing flies into your face.
I've never even thought about that.
Yeah. It's so dumb.
But these guys, and like most people are like, they'll like get into like a frog stance, like they'll like squat down and like they'll start like shooting their AK like this or whatever. They're like, you know? There are guys there with HK. What are they freaking called? They're a roller delayed 308.
You can tell me the mechanics of the gun, but you can't tell me the name of the gun.
Yes. Because HK names their guns like the most random crap.
They do, actually. I'll give you that one.
It's like, oh yes, this is an HK VT9 XL372. It's like, what the freak does that mean?
Like, bro, just give it a number. Come on.
It's like, at least like Glock is like, yeah, this is a Glock 19. Why? Because it's the 19th one. and
it's Gen 3 because we've made 3 models of it.
Like, they're on Gen 5 now.
They are on Gen 5, yeah.
Anyway, so he's shooting this really, really nice gun
with
a really nice red dot on it. Like
too much military training, too much.
And the way he's holding it, he's got ear pro on.
He brings ear pro to war.
He's C clamping with an angled foregrip on the gun, and he's got it just like this. And you're like, you don't look like a gangster right now. And he's standing just perfectly, and like he's got a nice cheek or a chin weld, He's got like, and you're like, you're like, that doesn't. And this guy was breaking down. There's a bunch of pictures of a bunch of guys like this, and they're like, and the guy breaking it down online was like, former military or something like that. So like, kind of new, and not just like grunt military. He was like a colonel or some crap like that.
Okay.
And was like breaking down like, yeah, these guys are all U.S. trained or at least something adjacent to U.S. trained. And like, not just like, I was in the military, but like, I was in the SEALs.
Yes, some sort of spec ops.
Which,
like,
leads, and, CIA does a lot of stuff.
They do a lot of international
Well, I told you I met that guy who was the, I always forget what he called.
Oh, his title. His job description.
His job description. Like kinetic response force or some crap like that.
Yeah, that's right.
He just was a saw gunner. That's all he was, a saw gunner for the CIA. Anyway, yeah. So like that was interesting. Where it's like,
Not saying it's a conspiracy, but
but the CIA has their thumb on everything.
Oh yeah, dude. Since
their inception.
Yeah, since the beginning of the CIA, they've always just had their hand in everything. Just
Speaking of evil empires and the Sith. CIA or the Sith. Title of the episode.
Basically, yeah.
CIA equals Sith Lords.
That's not like, that's just, everybody knows that at this point. I don't.
Rule of two: the CIA and NSA.
Does the FBI count? Or are they trying to get rid of one of them?
No, the FBI is like what are the
they're just
the acolytes?
Oh,
the acolytes, like Asajj Ventress.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, they're just like training, or they're like
because you have the rule of two. There can only be 2 Sith Lords, right?
Yeah,
but then you have like Asajj Ventress and Savage Opress.
Yeah, they're just auxiliaries.
Yeah, who are like they can use the Force. They have lightsabers, but they're not technically Sith for whatever reason.
I forget. Did they never got Force lightning, right? Because I feel like that's probably delineates you from like Sith Lord.
No. I don't think Asajj Ventress ever got Sith lightning.
We're not going to teach you lightning because that can turn around and kill me. So
yeah. I don't think Vader ever used Force lightning either.
I feel like
maybe he did in the comics.
I think he did in the comics, or in the video games, which are canon, I think. No, I could be wrong, actually.
I don't know. I think he might have been in the books, actually. Anyway. Or in the comics, whatever.
Right. Where were we going with that? Sith Lords? CIA?
2 Sith Lords, CIA, NSA, rule of 2.
Yes.
FBI is equivalent to like Asajj Ventress. Or Savage Opress. Or an Inquisitor.
An Inquisitor, yeah, they could just be the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Which also makes sense.
You know? Don't kill us, our friendly CIA agent.
Yeah, the one who's watching our streams.
What is the ATF? Besides stupid.
It's like I can think of many adjectives.
Anyway, where are we going with any of that?
Wizards of the Coast? I don't know. Evil?
We were talking about Daggerheart. And
our next topic was we were going to do either Dragon's Dogma or Baldur's Gate 3.
What?
I mean, we can do both, but
we got time?
Yeah.
So start at the lowest. We're just going to set hard cut.
Pick it up somewhere, Trevor.
Go, Trevor, go. I'm drowning here.
Okay, Dragon's Dogma 2, right?
What is that?
Everybody's sequel to the favorite Dragon's Dogma game.
Which no one's ever heard of.
No, not even a little bit.
Because I've never heard of it.
No. It is another semi-big fantasy RPG, right? So
are we talking like Final Fantasy type thing?
No, it's an action RPG. So it's more like, I don't know, Elden Ring style combat-ish. So you do you level up and there's different weapons and combat, and it's third person, and you're fighting monsters and undead and fantasy stuff. They've been in the news recently. They've had their character creator out for a couple weeks, and Dragon's Dogma 2 was kind of touted because it's like their character creator was super in depth. Like you could make anything, which was cool. And then you even got to customize like your 2 or 3 like companion NPCs in the game.
Oh wow, cool.
So you can just do some hilarious, funny stuff. Like anything you could think of, any character you can basically just make in game.
Wow.
So people have been having a blast with that before the game even actually released, which is cool. You can share all the the presets, so people can copy and paste your characters to use. Super fun. Game actually came out though. People are actually getting to the gameplay now, and there was a little sneak, a little surprise. As the game released, you're like, oh, here's the base game, $70 or whatever. And then,
so first of all, really expensive,
very expensive. AAA. It's developer and publisher is Capcom.
Yep,
they're a big name.
Yep.
Street Fighter Street Fighter's the biggest one, but Monster Hunter, the Monster Hunter games. Anyway, game release, $70, and then you scroll down a little bit on the Steam page, and you see a list about yay long of microtransactions, $2 to $5 purchases of little things, little consumables. Consumables. Not even
cosmetic.
Not even cosmetic DLCs. The microtransactions surprised the heck out of everyone. There was no mention of that at all.
What? So what are we talking, like health pots?
No, it's fast travel. That's what we're talking about.
Consumable fast travels.
So before I continue, in all the research I did, there was a lot of visceral reaction, and then you had to do some more digging to find out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You do unlock fast travel in-game for free eventually, but there is somewhat of a limit to it from what I've read. You can put your own fast travel markers in game to like fast travel back to things, and I think that's your only fast travel. And you only have so many of those in game, and you have to play through the game to unlock up to 10, I think, by the end of the game. Or you can buy an extra little fast travel marker, which will then put your total up to 11 by the end of the game.
And it's $1 a piece?
Those ones are $2, I think.
$2 a piece?
Mm-hmm. So the fast travel.
I wonder if you can break the game.
No, because they have anti-cheat installed in a single player game. That you already beat me, Steven. That was another point I was going to bring up.
They have anti-cheat installed.
And they have it's a very aggressive anti-cheat.
So is it online?
No. Well, I think it's one of those always online games.
Why do we have to have online games?
Purely single player. There's zero multiplayer element. No network functionality whatsoever.
And it has to be online. That's so dumb.
And the anti-cheat is known to be one of the most aggressive, get under your skin, under your computer type anti-cheats, where you basically you can't mod the game at all, which I think is going to kill it. I think that's going to kill it.
You think that's going to kill it? Not the $2 per fast travel microtransaction,
and then
at a $70 price tag.
And then
if the game was free or $10,
microtransactions totally makes sense.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Yeah,
but the game is $70. For $70, I should be able to transport wherever the freak I want. I should be able to put my.
You should have the whole game.
Yes.
People started making funny comparisons of they showed Elden Ring's map and how ginormous it is. $60 on release. They're like, what would you do without fast travel in this game? And this was the whole game. It was ginormous. You were supposed to fast travel everywhere. Or they were like, Starfield. Starfield doesn't exist without fast travel.
No.
That game is fast travel.
That's all you do in that game.
That's all you do. It's just 7 loading screens for every fast travel. Fast. Only because you can't physically fly places in your spaceship. So since we're jumping all around, just to give you even more outrage, we didn't even finish the rest of the microtransactions. A character edit, character respec.
No.
Yeah. They had this excellent character creator that was released for weeks before, get people hyped for the game. Once you make your character, that's it. You can't change it. And I'm not you can't change your class or your appearance. Appearance is purely cosmetic. It doesn't affect anything.
No.
It's a fantasy RPG where you've got 12 different classes. You're like, oh, maybe I want to try out something else. You can't. I know what you're thinking. Just make a new character. You can't make a new character.
You can't restart the game?
It's $70. You can't restart the game, Steven.
What?
You have to go into the game files and attempt to just delete your save file, risk the anti-cheat locking you out of the game, and then if you do it just right, you can actually delete your save file, but if you do it wrong, because your save file is actually stored on their cloud. Your character is stored on their cloud. So it's just 7 more steps and layers deep of actually deleting your character. It's very complicated. Console players, I don't know what console players do. I don't think they can. You have to buy another game. Yeah.
What?
The more I read into this week, it just blew my mind.
There's no way that this game is successful.
It's so weird.
How many? So it's out now?
Yeah, it's out now.
How many copies have been sold?
I don't know how many copies have been sold yet. Their peak over, I think this was their first weekend because they dropped on Wednesday or Thursday. Their peak on Steam was 200,000 players.
Really?
Yeah, and
not low.
Today's Saturday, so it might even go higher.
Wow.
That's why it's so weird. People love the character creator. They built the hype for weeks, and the people playing the game say the game is fun. It's kind of a cool, hack and slash action RPG.
Dude, a $70 game has to be amazing though for me to even consider it. I'm still playing Power World.
Yeah, which was $30. 20? I think it was 30.
I think it was 30. I think you bought it on promo or whatever for 20 or whatever.
25 maybe.
I got it for $30. I'm still loving that game.
Yeah,
I think about that game.
Still tons of content.
The map in that game is ginormous as well.
Yeah, and you need fast travel.
I didn't realize you spawn on like the southern part of the map,
and
there's just like I've been going north, and I'm like, this has to be the end. Nope.
There's another biome, another region past there.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the heck, man? And I've unlocked some super cool, like, I
found some random island on the southwest corner of the map, I think.
Yeah.
I had to, like, fly off the coast for, like, 4 minutes.
Yeah. And it's like, is it the one where they're, like, it says, like...
they're hostile, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to go on the island.
Yeah, there's a couple of those.
Oh, cool.
There's a couple of them. And they have, like, level 50,
the guards.
The guard guys.
NPCs.
And then if you hit one of them, or if you walk close to one of them, they all start chasing you for trespassing.
Right.
And then if you shoot one of them, it's assault and trespassing, and they just start shooting at you the entire time.
Jeez.
And they're like level 40 or 50 or whatever.
That's cool.
And it's like, I'm like, dude, I'm just like getting wrecked over here.
I just saw this
3 times.
I just saw that island out there. I was like, oh, I want to go there. There's like, trespassing.
But there's like really cool pals out there.
Yeah, there are actually. Like, there's some unique ones.
Yeah. I got a super cool one. It's a big fire snake.
Oh, I haven't seen that guy. That's cool.
I found him randomly in the volcano area, and I tried fighting him. Died instantly. But I caught him from one of the huge fire eggs.
Oh, nice.
He's got level 4 fire.
What? That's
I didn't
possible?
even know there was a level 4. I didn't know you could do level 4. I thought level 3 was the highest.
That's odd. What?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And on level 40, you get a saddle to ride him.
Oh, nice.
So
he doesn't fly, right? He's just a snake on the ground?
He's just a snake on the ground.
Okay.
But I'm excited for that because he's not a boss. Like, you know how the bosses are bigger?
Yeah, slightly.
He's just a massive model.
He's just a big
like bigger than the elephant ones.
Whoa. Like,
he's like a long boy. Like, he's big.
That's cool.
Very cool.
He takes up half your base size.
Yeah, he's pretty large. He's pretty large. But anyway, yeah, like, so for a game to be $30, that game, and I mean, obviously, like, that was just a whole conversation, but a $30 game, which, like,
and you've got more than your money's worth.
Oh, 100%. I love that game.
Whereas this $70 game plus some extra microtransactions, you'd be stretching. You'd be like, okay, the game might be fun, but am I getting my $70, $80, $90 worth?
Yeah, like zero chance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's craziness.
Yep. Only one character. Microtransactions for fast travel and character edit.
That's crazy that you can't restart the game.
Can't restart the game, yeah.
What if you don't like the class you picked?
Oh no, I think you have to buy, I think those ones are $3 to respec your character. Maybe eventually you unlock those as well as the fast travel. Don't quote me on that, but what if it's the start of the game? You haven't unlocked it yet. Like, you're just supposed to hate the game until you unlock the respec? Like, come on. And most games would just be like, oh, you don't like the character? It's the tutorial, so we'll let you restart for free or make a new character.
Yeah.
But no, you're not having fun. You got to give us $3 or you got to keep playing.
I've seen one game that allows you to do, they have like a premium currency in game. And you start off with enough premium currency, and it costs premium currency to respec.
Okay.
But you start off with enough to do it once, right? Yeah. And then it's not like a premium currency where it's like, it costs 10,000 to respec, and you gain 1 for every level. Right?
Yeah,
it's like a reasonable amount.
Okay.
Like, you do it once for free, effectively, and then from there, if you like gain enough of this currency, you can do it again and how. I
like. I think the last.
I don't mind that system.
No, I think it's very similar. I don't think they were the first ones to do this, but the last 2 that we played like that. New World gave you free respecs until level 20. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you don't like the weapon you're using? Try a different one. And that game was all about trying different weapons.
Yeah.
Because it had like a dozen something.
Yeah,
totally different play styles.
Yeah.
And then combinations, because you could use 2 pairs or a pair. And then Remnant also had a very similar system where you could respec up to a certain point for very cheap.
Yeah.
New World had premium. Remnant didn't. Premium currency, microtransactions.
Well, and in New World, you could create a new character.
Yes, you can also just make a new character.
Like, you couldn't keep your level. You had to start a new character. Like, you could either respec once.
But presumably, you weren't having fun with this, and or you wanted to try something else, you make a new character. You're still playing the game. You're still having fun.
I think that's a very reasonable way to do it.
Yeah.
Expect before level 20 or like before like 20% through the game.
It's a little trial.
Yeah. And I mean, level 20 is like a decent amount of playtime in that game.
Yeah, yeah. Out of 50 or 60 was the max level, so.
Yeah. No, I think you could go higher than that, couldn't you?
I think it was only 60.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just another, comes down to another, what's the word? Of like the money guy is in charge of the game instead of the game developer being like, well, we want our players to have fun. Fun is the objective here, whereas the money guy is like, money is the objective here. It's like
this is Steven's soapbox.
Yep.
Which happens every episode.
Every episode that we talk about video games often. So
companies that have, and so this is not just for gaming companies. This is for food companies. This is for firearms companies. This is for any sort of company.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a financial services company. You have a creator who creates something amazing. And the goal of that creator is not to make oodles of money. The goal of that creator is to share their creation with the world.
Yeah.
In video games, the creation usually is fun or challenging or interactive in some sort of way that evokes some sort of response, whether it's escapism or tryhardism or competitiveness, right? Like it evokes something from you. And if you do it successfully, if you make a good product, the money follows that, right?
Yep.
Every single game that is popular and every single large gaming studio comes out of that success.
It's built on the concept of fun.
You have like Activision with the Call of Duty games. The first Call of Duties were groundbreaking.
Yeah.
They were fantastic games.
Very fun.
I haven't played the new one, so I can't speak to those, but like Halo. Halo was just like one of the best co-op, like you and your buddies are split screen. You can either do the campaign or you can 4v4 or not 4v4, but like free for all or 2v2 or, you know,
you hop online with other people, like infinite hours of gameplay.
Amazing storytelling as well. Beautiful cutscene. Anyway.
Yeah.
You have gun companies like the Remington Firearm Company or Colt or these heritage companies where like the reason that the Colt company was so successful is because they came out with these revolvers that were fantastic.
Customer satisfaction was up.
They produced these guns that were amazing, and then money people got involved and they go downhill.
Yeah.
Same thing with Remington. Same thing with Marlin. Marlin used to make these beautiful lever guns, and then they just got money people involved, and they had to get bought out.
Yeah. And
so you have these companies that produce amazing products. This happens with fast food places as well.
Oh, sure.
You have these fast food places like Taco Bell, for example. Taco Bell or McDonald's, right? McDonald's used to be the place where you could go and get a $1 cheeseburger, and it was like a good-sized burger.
Yeah.
Like, not like a massive, humongous thing, but like a good size, like, it was more than a snack, right?
And now it's like $4.
Yeah. And you just have all these companies that they have so much potential because you know they were successful based not on the money side of things, because the money, focusing on the money of a business never made a business successful.
Yeah, it just kills you.
It's focusing on the product and the service you're providing and the experience that you're providing and the utility that you're providing is what a company should focus on.
Obviously, the money is an important aspect, but it's not. Yeah, it's not the end goal. Like that's not what you're trying to focus everything on.
I mean, like you even think of like Apple, like arguably one of the most successful companies of all time.
Sure, yeah.
Steve Jobs, his goal, like I've never heard him talk about the money aspect of the company.
Yeah.
In all of the things I've read and listened to about Steve Jobs, it was always like the customer experience and the perfection of the hardware.
Yeah.
the perfection of the hardware and the software and the customer experience with those.
Achieving perfection.
I mean, he was a brutal, tyrannical person about that, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure you've heard, like, he was a horrible person to work with.
Yeah.
Or for.
But that's like, it's because he cared. I think, again, arguably, it's because he cared so much about that.
That's exactly why.
The end product.
You know? And you think of all these different companies that started off just providing such a either revolutionary or perfect, or, you know, the utility was beyond belief. Like, I think of Microsoft. Like,
yeah.
Microsoft revolutionized computers.
Totally.
And they came out with, or they bought up and developed Microsoft Excel. The world runs on Excel. Without Microsoft Excel, we'd be doing stuff on like paper sheets and clay tablets.
Still, yeah, just
using an abacus. Like,
it's fair. And they put a computer in every home, basically.
For real. And you know, you have companies that, you know, do such good work, and then the money people get involved. And it's for some companies, like technology companies and computer companies, maybe it doesn't matter as much because the product has already been introduced into the home.
Yeah.
And so you just need to figure out how to not replicate that, but just continue that process, right?
Yeah.
But for creative...
The vast majority of, creative products.
For creative products, movies, you know...
You need customers.
You need customers to continually purchase and continually support that work, right? And I think that 98% of the time when money people get involved, the company just loses focus on the games that made them great, you know, or the thing that made them great, you know. So I think it's...
I agree.
And they start cutting corners, and this is one of the things that happened with some of the gun companies. They would produce these amazing guns,
cutting corners in production quality.
And they said, "Oh, we'll keep the price the same," because it was most like Marlin produced some not premium lever guns, but like
good,
high quality, like very high quality consumer grade.
And then they cut the cost on their end,
but kept the price the same.
Yeah. So
for $1,000 or whatever they were charged, this was years ago, so I don't know what they were charging, but like for $1,000, you're getting half the gun.
Yeah.
You know? It's like if you went to go buy a Glock and it was a high point. Very niche example. Very, you know, or if you were going to go buy a Sandhawk and bought a Glock and got a Glock instead.
Right.
Like, if you're like, that's one of the things, like, for example, Glock, the CEO, like, one of the great things about Glock is that they haven't changed the stupid product.
No, yeah, it's always
they've changed some aspects of it, like they've made them better, but the product is the exact same. They have the same gun, just 46 times.
Don't drop production quality. Nothing like that. Just it sells. Keep selling it.
And guess what? They're one of the most successful gun companies ever.
It's working.
And people are always like, "Oh, there was a thing a year or two ago about like, hey, Glock, why don't you produce a rifle? You make such good guns." And they're like, "You make such good handguns. Why don't you produce a rifle?" And they're like, "Because we don't produce rifles.
We're not a rifle company.
We make Glocks, and Glocks are handguns. Glocks are polymer handguns with stamped sheet metal.
That's a good
pieces.
That's a good response.
Yeah. And that and Horsecom. Those are the two things that they do.
Randomly. That's
because European companies.
Yeah, you got to diversify your business assets.
Glock was a fan of racing horses, apparently.
And even though he passed away, they gotta keep the tradition.
Just a little bit ago.
Yeah,
just a year ago.
Remember we talked about that?
Less than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. SHOT Show. They had a very nice booth, like.
Oh, nice! Like, a little memorial.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. Anyway, like, Glock is a perfect example of a company. Like, can you imagine? Like, only the creator of a company could be like, yes, we will do the gun that I created and Horsecom.
You gotta sell those champion horses, Steven.
But like, no other company, if they're like, we're focused on the money, is going to be like, let's do the guns and like that. Those don't make. There's no crossover.
Compute,
no, right? if the money people were involved, they would say like, yes, we're going to make a generic AR-15.
Yeah,
because
AR-15 sales are up. It's the flavor of the month, so we gotta sell them.
And then they would have, this is going to be the Glock lever gun, and this is going to be the Glock revolver, and this is going to be the Glock AK-47 223 conversion kit. And it's like, why don't you just focus on making Glocks? Which, guess what, is what they've done. And like I said, one of the most successful companies ever.
Almost 100 years, something like that.
80 years.
80 years, yeah.
80 years, I believe.
Long time.
These are I think he developed the first one in the 40s.
Gotcha.
No, it would have been the
50s?
60s.
60s. That is 60 years. 60 years. It's math.
Because I think they just did their 50th year anniversary a decade ago.
Oh, okay. Dragon's Dogma.
61 years.
61 years. Nice. Dragon's Dogma 2, produced by Capcom. Well-established big AAA gaming studio. If you like action RPGs, the game might be fun, but I'm not getting it.
So, tell me, you were going to say, I guess we can save this till later maybe, but you had an opinion about, I wanted to ask your opinion about microtransactions in general, because beforehand you said that you had changed your opinion, so maybe you could give us the 7-minute rundown on that.
Give us a 7-second rundown. I'll do you one better. We can go over slightly.
Hey, 7 seconds is a long time.
I've heard it's average. I have
2
changed.
inches in 7 seconds. Oh yeah,
I have changed a topic on microtransactions. Briefly, if we're going to go over, it's got to be a good topic. Otherwise, we'll just cut it here. Yes, when I was a teenager, hated microtransactions because I didn't have any money. So it was either, doing random odd jobs to make enough cash to buy like a $40 game on Steam or whatever, wait for a game to go on sale. Or I was playing free games on my phone. Just like, I want a cool, good, free game I don't have to spend any money on. Hearthstone, sure. There were some fun little, dinky fighting games or whatever I played over the years on my phone, and despise the microtransactions just because it's like I don't have money for that. They seem so predatory. Of like, you want to play our game more, you got to buy 30 energy for $3 or whatever. But I have changed slightly on my opinion as an adult. Whereas, as you heard my wife explain earlier, it's Pokemon Go. She spent a lot of her time on Pokemon Go at one point in her life. That looking back on it, she thought I don't regret maybe dropping $30 over the course of her time playing that game on that, because she got more than that in hours of enjoyment. So I realized that not lately, but if there was a mobile game, or a free game, or only a free game is really the only time I think microtransactions are excusable. A free game that actually captures your attention well enough for X period of time. As an adult, I feel maybe that game is worth. You throw $20 to get the premium currency to get some cool stuff, and then you play the game more. You enjoy it more within reason. But those are kind of my stipulations of if it's a free game. Because otherwise, I just want to spend $10 and buy the whole game. I don't want to free and then spend hundreds of dollars. And then too, if it's not predatory of you beat the tutorial, you got to pay $4 to continue, and then you get another hour of content, and now you got to pay $5 for chapter 2 or whatever. Or for if kids are playing and it's just the pay to win, I'd argue that's kind of the predatory as well. Or the stuff with Dragon's Dogma 2 where people don't know any better.
Yeah.
If you buy the game and you see all the extra additional content pop up, you're like, oh, I need the fast travel. Oh, okay. Oh, I need the character editor. If I want to edit my character, I have to buy that. You don't know if that's in game or not, or how many you're allowed. If it just says, well, it's $2.99 per fast travel, I can buy 3 of those. Okay. So those are my stipulations. But yeah, I've come to the agreement. Some microtransactions in a free game are okay if you feel like the game's deserving of your time. So that's my summary, my spiel on that.
Yeah, that's a reasonable take, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think I don't really have time to play mobile games, so I haven't really spent any money on microtransactions lately. But yeah,
I don't think I've ever spent any money on microtransactions.
I do generally just prefer to, like, even if it's a mobile game, if it's a good mobile game and you've got like a demo or whatever, yeah, I'll pay $10 for your whole game. I think it's good. Yeah, I'm an adult now. I have money.
Fair enough. At least enough money to
enough money.
Spend $1 on microtransactions.
Yeah. If I think it's worth it and it'll give me enjoyment.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's a good take.
Right?
It's a good take.
Seems fair.
Trevor has a take. There it is.
Trevor has strong opinions.
Steven just has stronger ones.
It's many opinions.
I do have many opinions. They're all correct.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Nope. Steven's opinions are the most correct. That's the end of the episode. Right?
It's never going to get better than that. Nope. Thank you for watching this week's episode of the 5G Podcast.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.